Hey guys, welcome to the Penpot second tutorial of the series. I'm covering the Artboard and Prototype function. So let's quickly get into this. Right now I'm actually using Penpot for a lot of mock-ups and like different website mock-ups, so it's been a very useful tool for me. So right now I just drew an artboard. You can do this by selecting the square icon with the two little triangular little objects on the corners. And what this does is it creates a space to say this is my app or this is my web page or however you want to label it. Just think of it, it's its own separate little space. So whatever objects or text or anything that I put in here will stay in this artboard and is a separate space than the artboard 2 that I've just created. So if I wanted to go and create more artboards, you can just click, hold, and drag to create as big of an artboard as you want, and it will sequentially, um, you know, it'll label it artboard -3, the next one will be -4, -5, and so on. You can rename these if it makes sense. I can say web home page if you're maybe doing website design. So I guess what I'll do here is I'm actually just going to delete all these things that I added. Um, Typically what I've done in the past is I've drawn out the web page in this case. So let's make, I made a little navigation bar, and I'm going to make the hero or the main body of the web page. Let's say I'm going to add an image here, and I'm going to add a button, and I'm just using the square rectangular icons, this tool, just to create all these objects. I'm going to, let's see, add a text here, hello, or actually next page, let's do that. And then let's say that my nav bar has, let's see, it has home, it has contact, and blog. Okay. And you know what? I'm actually going to create these as separate buttons. So let's zoom in a little bit. And I did that by, on a Mac, I held down Command and scrolled with the mouse scrolling wheel. All right, let me go back to this move icon. Oops. I'm going to drag that right there. Now I'm going to hold Command C and then Command V to copy and then paste. And I'm going to rename this contact, or how about, I don't know, blog. And let's do Command C, Command V again. Bye. That makes no sense, but bear with me, guys. Okay, so we have these two things. Now, let's say when you select the buy, you get a menu. You get, or let's do home, that's better. If I select the home button on the nav bar, it's going to create like a little box, a little drag down option box where I can select different options to go maybe to different web pages. So what I can do on the side right here is create a little menu. So that's what I meant. When you click this, a menu will appear below. And I'm going to select the text, and I'm going to write and bye and hi, because why not? All right, so that's our menu. And then the other thing I want to do is, let's say this goes to next page. So I'm going to create another page of the website. And I just did that there by Command C, Command V. It's probably Control C, Control V on your if you have a PC. Okay, so let's see, let's just make this a little different so that we know that when we select next page, we're going to a new page. By the way, I should have explained this. So the whole thing I'm trying to go for here is Penpot actually gives you the ability to replicate the feel and the look of a working application. So Prototype is going to allow me to click on next page, and then it will take me to a different artboard, as I had mentioned before. These are not artboards currently, but we will make them into one. So let me just get rid of this. I'm just going to make this look a little different. Yes, you made it. Woohoo. Okay, let's put that there. Man, it is so cold today. We just got snow yesterday. And we like to save money, so it is freezing in this house. All right, so I'm going to go to the artboard. I'm going to click, hold, and drag, and I'm going to drag the artboard over the entire screen that I'm trying to select. So I'm going to do the same with these others. I'm going to make an artboard of the menu, and I'm going to make an artboard of the second page of the website. So I'm just going to rename these. I'm going to say this is the home page. I'm going to rename this by double clicking on that name, and I'm going to say menu. And the third one, I'm going to say internal page. Okay, so this is going to mimic our website. You want probably want to keep that artboard pretty snug to the boundaries of your art. So we're going to go over to this tab right here, Prototype, and we're going to start the flow. Okay, so let's start with making a menu item. I'm going to click Home, and when you click any item on the page, it's going to give you this arrow. Now the arrow is asking you, where do you want me to go? I believe it can only be another artboard. I could be incorrect about that, but I believe you can only drag the arrows to another artboard currently. So now that creates a flow 1. And if I were to animate this prototype, I'm going to call animate for the sense of, I don't know, making this a little bit easier to explain. I'm going to go to this view mode icon right here to see how this behavior works. Right below it says on click, navigate to menu. So when I click home, it's going to zoop right over to menu. That's what it's going to do currently. So let's see this happen. Click view mode. And it's going to create another little web page that you can actually share with other people. It'll generate a link for you to share. But let's try this. So we prototyped the home button, and you can see that now my cursor is a little selector, and I'm going to click it right there, and it brought me to the menu. Now this is not what I want the behavior to be. But this is the default behavior that happens when you set up a prototype. So let's go back, and I did that by just going back to the other tab. You can also go within here and I believe select edit file, and it'll just create another web page for you to edit it. But I can just go back, and let's click back on this prototype. I'm going to go to this on click option. I'm going to click on it, and if you click on it, it will do the behavior you want. Or if you mouse enter, I believe it's when the mouse hovers over. I'm not clear about that. I can see it. Actually, let's see what happens there. I'm going to refresh my view mode to get the new edit. And let's go back to that home page, and we can do that through this nifty Artboards preview page. You can just click on this top part, and I'm going to go back to home, and you can see it's as I hover over home, it triggers the animation event. So, and then mouse leave must be when I select and then leave, or not select, but hover and leave. So let's try that. I'm going to refresh again. Let's go back to that home page, and that's exactly what it was. This is also not what I want this to do, so I'm going to go back to on-click and I'm going to do, all right, there's open overlay, there's toggle overlay, close overlay, previous screen. You can really just play around with these things. I believe what I would like here is to open the overlay. So now you see that that arrow changed to these block icons. So what that means is it's saying I'm going to stay on this home page, but instead of going to the menu as though it's a new page, I'm going to open it up right over the current page. And that's exactly what we want. So if you look here, it's asking, is it a menu or an internal page? This is a menu. And what positioning would you like? The positioning here is where will this menu appear on your whole home page. So if you have an artboard that, let's say, is this the extension, like if, let me just draw this. If I had an artboard this big, then the menu, depending on what you selected, let's go back to that. If I selected this position on the top left corner, it would position the menu right here. If I selected the bottom left corner, it would position the menu right here. It's all relative to where your artboard is. So I don't want this artboard 4. I'm going to delete it. And just by the way, know that this here these are all the layers, all the items that are contained on this page here. So you can always edit and delete things right here as well. You can make them visible, make them disappear. You can even lock them so that they can't be edited on the page. And I can go more into that in another tutorial, but right now we're just going to focus on the prototype. Let's get the artboard. It's called Artboard 1 because we named the other artboards different names, so it's starting the sequencing again of Artboard 1. I'm just going to delete it, and it's removed it. Now let's go back to our menu. In this instant, I want the menu to appear right below home. So I'm going to have a manual placement. And so when you select that, what it's going to do is it's going to place the menu in the smack dab middle of your artboard. So this is important to know because if you have a long artboard, just like I had created previously, it's going to take this menu item and it's going to put it in the middle of the artboard. That's important to remember because if you're zoomed in and you select that option and you're like, okay, so where is my menu that I can drag to where I want? Where is it? And when I first did this, I was like, I don't think this is working. I cannot find the menu. And it's just because I had a long artboard and it was out of my view. So just look in the center of the artboard. All right, let's zoom back in. So now I can click, hold, and drag this menu wherever I want. I'm going to place it right below home. And that looks like a good placement for it. All right, so we have more options here. We can select this box to say close when clicking outside of the box, so this menu will disappear once I am clicked out of it. And you can add a background overlay. So I think that's a drop shadow, but I'm not clear. So let's try this. I'm going to go back to my already open view mode, and if you ever want to create a new view mode, you can always go to the top right corner with this little triangle. I already have it open, and I just click refresh, and it works just fine. Let's go back to home page. All right, so let's try it. And as you can see, I have the menu, and that last check marked, this check mark here, what that does is it actually darkens the rest of the background so the menu really pops. So if I were to remove that background overlay, you might not even notice it because it's just all grays here, but you notice it did not darken the back so that that menu popped. Okay, so there's one animation prototype, whatever you would like to call it. So let's say we wanted to go to the next page. Oh, and I also wanted just to add there is if I click outside of the menu, it will go away. So I can just keep on doing that, like it's a real web page almost. All right, so now let's say I want to go from the home page to an internal page. Let's click, while we're in the prototype tab, let's click this text. I'm going to click, hold, and drag this arrow, and I'm going to have it come to this page. And the default should work just fine, but let's say I want it to go back to the home page once I'm done with the internal page. So, actually, I don't think I want to do that. That's how you can undo a prototype, or you can, if you delete the prototype, it will delete your item that's connected to it. So if I were, let me just explain this part. If I were to come in and say, oh, no, I don't want that, and I deleted it, it will delete your text right here. So don't delete it that way. Either pull back the arrow or come, this is actually the easiest way, is to come right into this menu and hit the minus button, and it will get rid of that animation or that prototype. And you see this option right here, preserve scroll position. So what that means is this is not really going to work for this example, but let's say again you have a long prototype, and when you click on something, maybe in the center of a page, like let's say this is one big prototype or artboard, and you want to click on something and then something changes on that website. Well, you don't want it to refresh up here. You want it to stay right here. And what this option does is it preserves where you are on the website when it changes to the animation. So it's pretty cool. If you click, it'll just go to the previous screen. I guess you could have had the animation where it says if you click, you go back to the home page. But I like doing it this way. That way, like if you have multiple pages going to this internal page and you just click and then you want it just to go back to the home page, it will. So or wherever you came from, actually. So let's go back to that view mode. Let's refresh here. All right, let's see if our next page works. And it does. And now if I click anywhere where there's a clickable area, I'll go back to the previous artboard. All right, so that is the basics of Prototype. As time goes on and more features are added, I will do update videos, but for now, this is just a quick overview. Please feel free to leave questions below. Thank you so much for watching.